Hello, this is Lisa in Imagination Sisterhood Studio, and today I am sharing a really fun project that I kind of played with the other day, and all of a sudden I was very excited. And it is a double pocket envelope, and it's really cool. So you have one pocket, two pockets. All of them have two pockets. Little teeny tinies with two pockets. How fun is that? And it's so easy to do, you won't believe it. I am working today with Dassey Avenue papers. You can find them on Etsy. These are from the Vintage Cameo paper, and this one is from the Vintage Botanicals, I believe. I can't remember what this one's from. All right, so how do we make all of these different shapes and sizes, these double pocket little mini envelopes? So easy, you're not going to believe it. All right, the first thing you're going to need is a piece of paper that you like the color of. This is also a Dassey Avenue print, and it's from her sewing collection, Vintage Sewing, and I just thought this would be beautiful. And what I am going to use to do this is a 3.5-inch heart punch. You can also do it with just a heart template. I am going to include this in the description so that you can download and have this size heart to trace and cut. And then you can also trace it small, make smaller and bigger ones from it. It's just important that you have this proportion, all right? Because other proportions don't work quite as well. It makes a little weird. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is put my paper in my punch, which again, if you don't have a punch, then you can just trace it on the back, however, whatever size you want it. This just happens to be super handy. All right, and before you go any further, I noticed my punch didn't punch right there. Before you go any further, you are going to want to ink these curves, and it's up to you. If you're not an inker, don't ink them, but you might want to use a marker because you can't. I like seeing the little double pockets, but you won't see it if these aren't inked. Okay, if you have a paper that has it's backed, has two different patterns, that will help, and you might not have to do this part. I just like it because it helps me see the pockets better, and so to me it's more I guess visually pleasing is the word I would use. It is more visually pleasing. I can see all the cool stuff. All right, so I'm all inked. All we have to do is do a couple of folds and we are good to go. All right, I like to work on my self-healing mat because I can line this up on a line down the middle. So you want to make sure you have it down the middle. And this little flap has got to go just past this center, just past this center. And once it gets a little tiny bit past the center, then you got to make sure it's straight all the way down. So this one is a little crookedy. It needs to go up this way just a little bit more. So you can see it's just covering my little indentation there. And we're going to do this to the same side, and the advantage of having this on the self-healing mat is I can see exactly where I folded this, so I know that my fold is going to be exactly the same. And it is going to go right here, just past there. Let's make, oh, that one went a little too far. Let's back her up a little bit, get the fold at the top, and then I can make sure it's the same going all the way down. You do want to make sure these are straight when you fold them, because otherwise it will give you a wonky envelope. And nobody wants wonky envelopes. So go ahead and take the time to, you can try using a scoreboard. I'm not very good with a scoreboard, so I tend to do it this way. All right, so I can see the little fold there. All right, I'm ready to go. Okay, this is so super easy, you're not going to believe it. I am going to put a little glue on here, just a dot of glue. I did have my glue here 2 seconds ago. Oh, here it is. You do want this all to be glued down ultimately, so, but I'm just going to stick a little because I have to do a little bit of trimming before I'm totally going to glue it together. So I just like a little so it holds it up. The next thing you're going to do is fold up the bottom. So this is the scoopy edge. Fold it up to the bottom, but not all the way up to here. So as you can see, I've got about, looks like maybe 1/4 inch. And I'm going to fold it right there. Okay, get that nice and stiff. Now I like to trim this off, and that way I can fold it down. You need to be able to fold your flap so it tucks into the hole. So then I'm going to cut this off right here. And the same thing on the other side. And that looks like it's about there. So we're going to go just like this. All right. You don't have to do this part, but I find it looks better and more important, it works. It closes easier. And then I trim off just a little bit there so it's not straight. That's also optional. All right, and now we are going to glue this down. I kind of want this, decided I want this folded down a little bit further. Okay. So you can see the top fold, you can see this fold. We are now going to glue this back to this piece. But you have to make sure you don't glue this middle open. So we're just going to put a little glue over here and a little glue over here and a little glue here and here. I just don't want this piece to glue to this. All right, and there is our envelope. I need to trim it up a little bit. Didn't do my cutting very even, so we'll even this one out a little bit. Okay, and now we have 2 pockets. Here's the first pocket. And here's the second pocket. How about that? And once you get your paper in that you want in there, because I wait to do that first, then I know where I want to fold my envelope down. Let me just fold it over. And you're ready to tuck it in, just like any old envelope. And there you go. A 2-pocket, easy peasy mini envelope. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thanks so much for crafting with me. This is Lisa Stearns and Imagination Sisterhood Studio.